Hey guys, this is Ruben Langdon, aka Dante from Devil May Cry, aka Ken Masters from Street Fighter, and also Chris Redfield from the Resident Evil series. And you are listening to the Kasanova Podcast, the #1 podcast in Hawaii. Jackpot.
All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 podcast, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova. I'm coming at you with another amazing interview. And in today's episode, this is going to be a very, very special one because it's not only featuring my friend Rob from Insurgo, who's also my sponsor, but also a very special guest and the man who runs what is the hottest bar in California. And if you're in California, specifically in the downtown Garden Grove area on Main Street, then where you need to be is Barcode. And Barcode is basically, it's a time capsule that celebrates everything that made the 80s and 90s so great. So if you want to watch classic movies or look at like a Marvel and DC and Star Wars museum style presentation of rare collectibles and action figures, then basically this is where you need to be. It also is a place where you can get amazing Asian fusion taps. You can check out pop culture inspired cocktails and 18 craft beers. And if you want, you can also play some of your favorite retro video games, fighting games on Thursday nights, as well as many other things. Now, it's an honor for me to have the owner of this amazing establishment on Hawaii's #1 podcast. And if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it. Let's go ahead and welcome the owner of Barcode, Richard, onto the show. All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Hawaii's #1 rated podcast. 2 years in a row now, the Kasanova Podcast. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I have with me a very, very special guest. I've got Richard of Barcode. It's the official, I'm going to say official, it's not the unofficial, it's the official bar of the FGC. And we've got Rob of Insurgo, which is my new sponsor. Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Oh man, it's going good. It's going good. How's it going for you guys today?
Good. You know, thanks for having us, Mekel. I appreciate it. I'm going to be honest. It's my first podcast. I'm a little nervous.
What?
But, you know, it's one thing when you're at a bar drinking and talking to people and your friends, but when you have something focused directly on you, so it's a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Terrifying. I'm actually holding his hand underneath. Off camera, we're holding hands. Yeah.
Oh man, that's why you gotta have some gin and juice. It just loosen you up a little bit.
Well, that's why I'm drinking Jameson at 1 p.m.
Oh man, so Richard, go ahead and plug your social media, any upcoming events or projects you got, and your various outlets, so people can know where to find you.
Okay, we're on Instagram, BarcodeGG. GG's for Garden Grove. Mm-hmm. We've been around for almost 2 years now. Our 2-year anniversary party is coming up in June 22nd. Wow. If you happen to be in town, come by, man. You know, it'll be a big celebration. Right now, I am in the middle of planning our next Street Fighter V tournament, and then we may run MK11 back again. We just finished our last MK11 tournament, launch day tournament with Big Tricks, and it was a huge success. You know, like we had. Even though we only had 14 players, it was all spectators, and they were here cheering it on. Like, it was amazing. Like, you know, I'm pretty happy with the turnout from that. But, you know, our bread and butter is Street Fighter V. That was the first tournament, and it's the one that consistently gets signups, and people are always excited for that. So.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Man, I'm definitely gonna see if I can get out there. I've been talking to Rob. I'm trying to see if I can get time off from work We're doomed to be out there. I want to go to E3 and I want to kick it with you guys. I'm just trying to clear up my schedule.
Yeah, you're a busy man. You know, I would imagine it's probably tough running the #1 podcast in Hawaii. You know.
Man, it's crazy. Like when I think back on it, I'm like, man, I'm just a guy with the microphone, and then next thing I know, people listening and loving it. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll keep it going. I took off a month from doing podcasts, and I've got people blowing up my email and DMs like, yo, where's the next damn episode? Come on now. I'm like, chill.
You know, it's funny you say that. I think it's one of the things where if you just follow your passion and you do what you love,
Yeah.
and you don't really think about it in the sense of like you're trying to be successful or trying to garner more audience or anything like that, and you do it because you're passionate. You don't even realize that you're this #1 podcast, or you're like this bar owner that's considered the FGC official bar. You know, like I don't think of it that way. I think of it as something that I do because I care about it. You know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the next thing you know, you're where you're at, and you're still you. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, man, definitely. Like that's one thing I'm a big proponent of, and it's just following your passion, doing what you love, because it's not work and you put a lot of effort into it, and it grows. It's funny how things can grow organically, and you just step back sometimes and you look at it and you're like, oh wow, like this is something,
Yeah, you're like, where all these people come from?
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man, do you mind giving like a brief background on yourself, like like how you got into gaming, what got you into fighting games, and even like how you and Rob and Alex Valle all became friends?
Wow, yeah. It was kind of weird. It all happened really fast. Like just kind of to summarize my childhood, I grew up playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like my parents, they both worked a lot. They own their own businesses. Like being immigrants from Vietnam, like they were taught to work, and me being a child of those immigrants, like I was a byproduct of this hard work and just seeing them work all the time. So like they were never home, and I understood because you got to hustle. And so, what I did to fill up the time was to play Nintendo all day and watch TVs and movies. And that's, that's pretty much where the idea of barcode came from. It's pretty much my childhood all encapsulated under one roof, most of my childhood, is from early 90s all the way until now. Like when Street Fighter 2 came out, hit the scenes, I was 14, 15, playing Street Fighter 2 at 7-Eleven, across the street from my house, and we were there all day. It's one of the things where that's who I met. Like a lot of my friends, and people who influenced me, and it grew from being a game to being a hobby to being a passion. So now it's pretty much a part of who I am. It's pretty crazy to say, about a video game,
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I met a lot of my friends along the way, including Rob. I met Rob earlier last year. It was funny. I was buying prizes for our first Street Fighter 5 tournament here,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought a bunch of the Daigo books that was signed by Daigo himself, and I bought a couple of skateboards for myself. And I remember a few of the books, they were shipped with the skateboards, and the pages got bent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I couldn't give these as prizes because they're all bent up. So I messaged Rob on Instagram, and I was like, hey man, I got some of your stuff, but is there a way I can get these replaced?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, if you want, I can come by your spot and drop it off. I was like, yeah, it's cool. I'm hanging out with my friend Alex, Valle later. You can come drink and hang out. And Rob was like, hey, I know him too. And I was like, oh shit, small world, And he came by that night, and we just hung out, and we became friends, and it was just kind of weird, it just happened like that, which is why I said it happened so fast. Like you don't even think about it. It just happens, and next thing you know, now we're doing a podcast together.
Yeah, it's very interesting. He was complaining about how I had packed the box, so I had to fix that really fast. And then after that, just kind of a testament just to following a passion, right? I mean, finding another business owner who was in what I would say the same genre of games, and I definitely wanted to support the local scene. And I'd actually been to Barcode before. I walked in by accident one time because I don't know why I was here, but I walked in by accident, maybe just walking through looking for somewhere to drink, and then found Rich. And when I found out he was a customer, I was like, oh, definitely want to come and support, see what you guys are up to. And then since then, it's been a really cool place to interact with not just a fellow business owner, but also someone like Alex Baye, who at that level has given us a lot of insight into the FGC and other things. So Rich is definitely what I'll say is really blown up, right? I mean, it's such a unique place here. I mean, off the record, it would always be considered Rich's own man cave in this place. So if you ever want to come visit, I mean, you're going to check out some really cool collectible stuff that one man has put together and is willing to share with the rest of the public. It's really a cool place.
Yeah, like I was looking at the gallery and the different pictures you have up, and you have like the arcade cabinet like top banners for like a lot of games. I was looking at that. I'm like, I've never seen anything like that. Like the layout from what I've seen, I don't know any other bar that's doing that. Like that's freaking phenomenal what you got going on.
Thank you. Like, and one of the things that inspired me on the way the place is decorated and laid out was I wanted to give it a personal feel, like so that way when people see it, they can feel the same way. They feel a sense of nostalgia, and they're like, it's not manufactured. It's very personable. That's why I did everything myself. Like the floppy disk wall, the VHS wall, the arcade marquees, everything in here I did myself. So that way when customers ask about it, I can talk about it with from a personal perspective. I can tell how long it took me to do, why I did it, and it brings a sense of a new sense of value for them. Like like they know that and just hire somebody to do it. Like I did it myself, and it makes them feel I guess closer.
Yeah. No, I mean it's really impressive, man. Like when I get to California, which I'm gonna get there. I'm going. Yeah, Rob's gonna bug me until I go.
Hey, vice versa, man. We got to make it out to Hawaii and check out that scene because what Richard, like I said, what Richard's created here is so unique, and it's starting to become talk of the town.
Yeah, and that's one of the things like I want to ask, like how did it come to be known as the the unofficial bar of the FGC? Like how did that reputation like just come with your business?
I tried to not overly advertise. It was mostly word of mouth. I wanted to give it a grassroots, organic, growth. Whereas if you were to try to like spam social media and before you hired someone to advertise for you, it loses, the sense of being real. Like, people can see right through that. They're pretty smart, like, Whereas if someone were to be like, "What's that spot?" Like, how come I've never heard that place before? Or, or their friends told them about it, and they're like, "What? Like, how long have you been around?" Like, it's more of like an adventure and kind of like a sense of serendipity where they happen to stumble upon it, And so with the FGC thing, like I would have to actually thank Alex for that. Alex Baye, he pretty much pimped it out at WNF. Like he told everybody, and to my surprise, I went there for the first time, like 3 weeks ago, and I've known him for a while, but 3 weeks ago was the first time being there. And when I got there, like literally, like half of the venue was like, "Hey, I know you. You're the owner of Barcode." And I'm like, "How do you know me?" Like, and I'm like, like humbled by it. I'm surprised by it, and they're like, oh yeah, I see you on Twitter, I see you on Instagram. I've been meaning to come out there, and the next thing you know, like the following week, we have like players here just playing and taking shots and drinking beer and hanging out, and it made me happy, and now it's gotten to the point to where like people are like coming from NorCal, to come take us out. That's a far drive. That's not close by any means. Like we had a shout out to LTN. LTN was here last week. We were hanging out. We were hanging out with Sherry. Gunpowder was here, all the way from France.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, I didn't show up.
He wasn't here.
I was working.
Yeah, he was working. Yeah, like they were here for the Goodwill Charity Invitational, and they made a stop here the night before, and we were just hanging out. And we had some cash games, like cash money games.
Nice.
So it makes me happy to see that, like where I have these people actively seeking the bar now, like they want to come and participate, So.
And it's a place that even for us in the industry, and even I think for the players in FGC, it's really a hangout. There's no real pressure here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to like fighting events and other things like that. I mean, Wednesday Night Fights is an amazing place to really hone in on your skills and prepare for tournament. Mm-hmm. Here, it's a place to kick back. And I remember when Alex told me, come out on Thursdays, it became a place for us in the industry just to unwind and have conversation, and it was, it's just like a chill spot. And even Rich's casuals that he runs for Smash, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, you could have your, a person who may be a little intimidated by Wednesday Night Fights, come out here and just play with some of the pros and some of the notables within Southern California. So I think what Rich is doing here, or what's become of this place, is it's casual and it's fun, and you take a loss, you take an L, and you do a shot afterwards. I mean, you don't really see that anywhere else. I don't know how much that's promoted, but again, it feels very relaxing here, right? I mean, you could run into someone from Blizzard Entertainment, Capcom, and they'll just be here, have a drink, and then next thing you know, you're talking business, right? And again, that's typically what happens at this bar. So I don't know if that was part of his master plan, but it's fun, right?
Well, and like the idea was I wanted to create a bridge, where you have product development companies, marketing, gamers, they can all come here to hang out and by some chance, happen to meet somebody or meet each other and just talk shop and then go back to hanging out. Like it doesn't have to be the focal point of why you're here. Like it's just like I have some people from HyperX sitting back there having a burger and drinking a craft beer, and like a couple of days ago I had Vitrix here, just hanging out too. It's just one of those things where like I want them to come here just to relax and not feel pressured,
Yeah.
Like you can just be yourself. Like you don't have to announce where you're from. You just hang out and it just naturally happens. So.
No, I would say like the way it's been marketed, the word of mouth, like that's something that as someone like I have a background in marketing, and I remember when I was going to school for marketing, they always said like you got to do advertising, you got to promote yourself, you got to do this, you got to do that. But the reality is when you do word of mouth and a grassroots effort, it grows, I feel like, a lot bigger than a corporate style of marketing. So the fact that you've gotten to the point where you've got the industry going there, you've got professional esports players going there, like people, if they're in town, if they're in Garden Grove, then they're going to your bar. That's fucking phenomenal, man. Like hats off to you for that.
and like you were saying, like thinking marketing teaches you to spend all this money and all this dollars on trying to broaden your audience or gain more visibility. But if you do the long way, you tend to gain more longer lasting, more loyal customers because they found it on their own. They're here because they want to be here, as opposed to they were blasted on social media with all these like pretty pictures and like, it looks very rehearsed and very posed. Whereas here, like if you look at all the pictures on my Instagram, it's pictures I took on my phone. Like I didn't hire anybody. Like I wanted to give it a sense of realism.
Seriously?
So,
that was all just you?
That's all me. Yeah. Like, I have a Note 9 and I take pictures, and like I wanted to give it a base of realism, where you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, like I was there too. That looks familiar. Whereas if you hire somebody with like perfect lighting and focal lenses and aperture and
what's wrong with that?
he's a photographer too, but like I get it. Like there's a need for that, but I do want it to give something priminess, like where someone can look at it and be like, oh shit, that looks like someone actually took that picture and didn't hire somebody,
Oh man, I love it, man. I love it. Like I'm definitely. Okay, Rob, I'm gonna go out there in June. Okay, you happy now?
It's other than it being like a bar where we're talking a lot about the FGC and other things like that. There's even just the local clientele and people here in Orange County. It's a cool bar just to hang out. You don't need to be a gamer to come in here. And I think that what's really cool is even folks who just literally walk by. What you can't see are these huge windows. People walk by and say, "Oh my God, there's freaking The Simpsons playing on one of the screens, or Mega Man or Smash. Let's go check this place out." And it brings back for a lot of people just the nostalgia of seeing the games and other people watching people play games, and a lot of button bashing, and just it brings in just a good cross section of Orange County.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Like, what's a typical day like, at Barcode on average?
So we open 7 days a week, and we open at 5 o'clock every day because we're primarily a bar. So not a lot of people tend to drink before 5 o'clock, unless this is I'm doing a podcast,
and this is a code.
So like we tried the lunch thing for a while. It didn't pan out for us because Garden Grove, this particular street, is not a lunchtime street. We're on Main Street in the Old Town Garden Grove, which is like one of the last Old Town streets that hasn't been commercialized yet. It's not like downtown Fullerton or downtown Huntington Beach or downtown LA. It's very secluded. If you were to drive down the street, it looks like you just made a turn off of like 1955, like back to the future.
There's a farmer's market happening.
There's literally a farmer's market. There's lots of people buying strawberries right now. So every day we open up 5, and then from 5 to 7 is our happy hour. We have a bulk of our regulars come here after work. Have some food and drink some craft beers and decompress and unwind. And then usually from after 7 until about closing time, is when the party happens. People tend to drink a little heavier. You'll see someone playing Simpsons, Turtles in Time. On one of our arcade machines, we'll have a Super Nintendo and Genesis back there. They'll be playing Super Rage or Contra. And if people find their own ways to unwind or get relaxed or get more comfortable. So, which I think it's one of the reasons why we're successful, because it works. The nostalgia is very powerful, and it's a good way to forget your stresses, and your everyday grind. You just come here and be among your friends. I would say 70 to 75% of our clientele or our customers are regulars. And they all know each other. It's like a little cheers, you come here and you'll see your friends and people who different walks of life who would have no business interacting with each other, but they come in here and they're all friends, which is crazy to me, and it works. They'll sit down, they'll play some. I think they're playing Puzzle Bobble 2 back there, and it works. They can hop on and play, and sometimes they'll play for shots, or they'll play for beers, or and they're having a good time, which is but that's pretty much the average day for me. I get here around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I usually hang till closing time, and I say hang, it's not working for me. It's supposed to be hanging out with my friends. That's one of the reasons why this place looks the way it does and why I did what I did, because I wanted to have a job where it felt like, you know, I was hanging out as opposed to working, you know.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, it's a grind. It's a lot of work, but in the end, it's worth it because I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
You know, I'm drinking with my friend, and you know, sometimes I'll hop on and I'll play games, and you know, it's small things like that makes the place feel special for our customers. You know.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
And I mean, also Rich has, you know, that's the average day, but Rich, maybe you want to talk about how like each day has almost like what is it, Thursday casuals, and like, you know, how do you break that down?
So Thursday is usually reserved for our casuals. So like I'll have Street Fighter 5 set up. I'll have Mortal Kombat 11, Smash Brothers, or whatever the crowd wants for that day, and people just casually play and hang out. You know, it's a good mix of pro players, casual players, amateur players, and you know, that's the Thursday. Friday is usually our I call it our LA night. You know, LA night life, where people come here to get lit and turn up. And Saturday it's a good mix of both. Saturday it gets pretty rowdy, but the crowd kind of like tapers off around 11:30 and becomes more casual again. So, you know, it all depends on what you're looking for. Sunday's more recovery day, you know.
Farmers market.
Yeah, farmers market. Sunday's a big craft or water, or you know, and then hang out and just unwind. Yeah, kind of you know, regroup themselves. And then I would say Monday through Wednesdays are more of our chill days. You know, like you want to bring your friends, check out the place without having to deal with too much of a crowd that come on those days. You know.
I think what's really cool about this bar, right, is it's not a place that sells like maybe you do sell this, so I don't say something bad here, but like Bud Light and Coors. I mean, Rich has really created a place where it's specialized, right? So I mean, you have some great breweries. And I mean, I love peach.
You know.
I think this is the first place that has like a peach beer, right? I mean, he has like a melon and I mean, it's known for having some really, you know, SoCal being kind of like the home of craft beers. Rich really brought in those companies and integrated them into esports. I mean, I'll let Rich talk about it more, but you see this integration into the lifestyle, right? Bringing it all together. And I'll let you talk about that. That's not my deal.
So, you know, people usually buy beers to either sell or to cater to the crowd. So you know, you go to a place, the place will carry Bud Light, Heineken, Corona, you know, Modelo. Like it's for a certain group of people. And you know, for me, I wanted to create a lineup where it was more conducive to our audience. So you know, we have a good mix of high quality IPAs, Hefeweizen, ales. But it turns out the majority of gamers they prefer the lighter stuff, like the peach. You know, it's more peach. You know, I carry Golden Road. Golden Road is a very big brewing company out here. You know, so they have a pineapple cart, melon cart, mango cart. Those are all popular. And the Balboa Blonde is a strawberry blonde ale. You know, like stuff that most beer drinkers would not order or any respectable bar would want to order, because if beer drinkers don't like flavoring in their beer, they prefer the hoppy stuff, the stuff where you can taste the hops or the wheat or the But like, I'm not targeting that demographic. I'm targeting the gamers. The gamers who want to be able to drink the beer in their favorite flavor and not have to wince at it or or pretend to like it. And for me, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore beer drinker. It took me a while to warm up to it. I used to be a hardcore Heineken drinker. That's the Vietnamese inside me. But it took me a while to warm up to craft beer. So now I have a greater appreciation of it. So now when I order beers, I know what to order, like what what people are looking for. Yeah, and same with our cocktails. Our cocktails are they're simple by nature, but it's something that everyone can appreciate. Nothing too fancy. 5 ingredients max. But high quality cocktails, high quality ingredients. But it's like if you drink something, it tastes like what it's supposed to taste like. Very like crazy ass garnishes and trees hanging out of your cup, and people lighting up like weird shit and throwing fire at stuff with smoke and all this whatever. It's just a straight up cocktail. Like you order something like a lychee martini, you get a lychee martini, or it's very straightforward. That's pretty much the idea behind the alcohol program here too. It's straightforward. It's meant to be tasty. It's meant to get you from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And it's very affordable too. So the part of being in Garden Grove is your demographic. It's not the LA crowd. They're the hardworking Americans who spend their money wisely. So it's priced accordingly here.
And what I think is cool too is like when you look at the Mortal Kombat event that Richard with Vitrix, who's the brewery that you had here?
Bootleggers.
And then we also have he did a HyperX tournament, Smash tournament, right?
Yeah, HyperX Smash.
Who was the brewery?
That was Elysian.
See, so it's like it goes to classic cross marketing, right? Cross promotion, and it's really cool. You have these breweries who are able to reach out to this to penetrate that demographic and mix the crew together. Because when he has a tournament, it's usually on Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays. Tuesdays are usually our slower days, but so which is why I do it on Tuesdays. But it works out because
it packs the house. Mortal Kombat was crazy.
It packs the house. We have a maximum capacity of 80 in here. We fit 80 in here within the first hour. And they're here till closing time, like everyone.
Holy crap!
On a Tuesday, which blows my mind. But it works,
Yeah, and then in terms of activation, right? Like Vitrix is able to set up their station. They were selling steaks and product that was already sold out, and they were engraving. It was like a full on event on Tuesday night, And I don't know, I got enthusiastic. It was pretty. No, it was like I said. Me, not even as a pro. Rich's venue and tournaments allow someone like me just to have fun and play against some good people, and you actually learn. I mean, there's a little crew out here, and it's pretty cool. I mean, well, let's see if Rich puts up a barcode team in Evo. I don't know yet. We'll talk about that later, but
I'm working on that right now. I'm trying to assemble I assembled a team for Evo. And the idea is to kind of to add a little bit more legitimacy to our bar, having the casual player make that jump to a more worldwide stage where it shows that anybody can do it. Yeah. So they go to WNF on Wednesday to practice. They come here on Thursday to practice, but it's practice, but it's enough to where they can still hang out and drink a beer, So it's not hardcore in any sense of that term. It's they're having a good time.
Don't let him lie. He goes to the Wednesday night fights to make sure that they're practicing.
Well, it's called moral support, dude. Making sure that they're having a good time and winning.
Keyword winning. Oh man, that's freaking awesome, man. Like I love the style, I love the swag of it. And dude, I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm like, my wife loves beer. Like her family, they love all kinds of beer, IPA and whatnot. And I'm like, she would love that. So when we go down there, she's gonna go through all your beers. Like, what is this one like? And she's gonna be like, here's my credit card. We're gonna go through all of those. Oh man, what is your your menu for food like that you guys have? Like, what's that like?
So the menu, I would say it's like elevated bar food. Mm-hmm. It's it's stuff you recognize, but it's done in a way to where it's higher quality ingredients. It tastes better.
Mm-hmm.
Looks better. We have wings, we have fries, we have jalapeno poppers, we got cheese, corn, pizza, but there is Asian fusion twist on it. So we have bulgogi pizza. We have like a kimchi pulled pork slider. It's stuff that you can order and not be afraid of what you're ordering, because it still resembles what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you go somewhere and you order like, I don't know, like a fennel encrusted, like aioli truffle battered, something.
Yeah.
And when you get it and you eat it, you're like, it tastes nothing like what I think it's supposed to taste like. It's so far removed from what it's supposed to be. So we try to keep everything real. Like, if you order a wing, it's going to taste like a chicken at the end of it. There's flavors to it. There's different layers of flavor that you can appreciate. We have like a kurobota corn dog. That's Japanese, sausage, but it's wrapped in or battered in a cornmeal batter. So it looks like a corn dog, tastes like a corn dog, but it's higher ingredients.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm actually kind of a food guy, so what I will say about Richard's place, because I'm pretty critical when it comes to restaurants. When it comes to the food here, I'll be honest, I was pleasantly surprised because of the variety and how him matching up craft beers and creating a menu that matched it also with like the kimchi pork sliders, right? Like, that makes sense. That's something I would make at home, and and it tastes really good. You have the locomoco sliders.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we have locomoco too.
So
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm there.
It's not the sliders you just buy and put like mayonnaise and mustard and ketchup on. It's actually, there's some thought behind the whole process here. So again, it's another testament of how he really pays attention to what he's putting together.
Yeah.
And it's a place where you would actually want to, like, hey, let's go to the bar early and grab something to eat and drink, and we'll hammer out some games and we'll go home. So it's a cool little hangout. So the menu here is surprising, and he's always paying attention to it.
Nice.
Yeah, and I refuse to sell something that I wouldn't eat or order myself. Like it has to be something I would enjoy too. It has to be presentable. It has to be priced correctly. So.
I want to try those corn dogs.
I didn't know you had them. All right, we'll have some before we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Like part of the menu I owe to my friend John. John's our head chef. He had the knack of being able to taste something and know exactly what the ingredients are inside of it. So he can construct anything and remake it. So like sometimes I'll tell him, hey man, I want this to look and taste like this. Can you make it for me? Like I'm like screw big about it. I don't know shit about cooking food, and he'll know what I'm asking for. He'll make it for me. And like for instance, like the other day I was like, hey man, like I like wonton chips and I like nachos. Can you combine those two together for me? And he made wonton nachos, with chorizo on it. And like,
seriously?
I want to try that.
Yo, man, I'm getting hungry. It's only 10 in the morning.
and it's the number one seller right now, dude. Like it tastes so good. Like just two things that don't really belong together, but you put them together, and next thing you know, now you have something that's like delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
I need to try that. That's sounding delicious right now.
Yeah, as long as the food tastes good and you're not trying to reinvent the wheel with it, and it's something that you recognize, like people are going to order it, So, yeah, and that's been our goal with the menu, just to keep it real, like not make it too crazy. With the beers, with the cocktails, with the food, everything is straightforward. Like whatever you're ordering is going to look like what you ordered. So
awesome, man.
Yeah.
I have to ask though, like with all the collaborations you've done, like with Vitrix, with Insurgo, with Wednesday Night Fights, like with all the companies you've worked with, how do you have time to not only run your business, but also keep up and play video games at the same time? Like it seems like you're going like 10, 12 hours a day.
I am. I haven't had much time. I have the the bad habit of buying games, thinking I'm going to play it, and it ends up in my backlog.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, oh shit, the new Mortal Kombat 11 just came out. I want to buy it. I want to play it. You don't play it. It stays shrink wrapped. And then by the time you open it, it's like $19.99 on the bargain bin. Like I should have waited instead of I bought Resident Evil, the new remake.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't opened it yet. That shit's still shrink wrapped. Yeah, but now you can buy it for $34.99 at Best Buy. When I bought it for $60 when it came out, so it's like,
can I borrow yours?
Yeah, like
sitting up there.
Yeah. I have time to play games. It's usually during Thursdays, with during casuals or during weekends when I play Third Strike with some of our regulars. But I don't have time really. I like to think I have time, but it's usually mobile games in the bathroom.
TMI.
Yeah, I don't care. It's the Jameson talking right now. Whatever. Yeah, so it's like Puzzle and Dragons in the bathroom. I got a half hour in the bathroom to play the game before I can play. Hey man.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Yo, dude, I understand what it's like. Like it's you think you have time, and it's like, okay, I've got an hour, I've got 2 hours, I've got this, I've got that, and then you end up being occupied by something else. So I completely understand that.
Yeah, it's like I'm a retro console collector, so I got like PC Engine, Sega Saturn and Dreamcast and all the old consoles. Mm-hmm. All these games, I don't have time to play with them anymore. Now it's more like collecting. Like I see your back wall, and my wall is the same. Actually, maybe worse. But it's just hoarding at this point. Like collecting just a habit.
Yeah.
It's old habits die hard. Like you're a gamer at heart, and you just can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have time to open anything or play anything, you just gotta have it. So.
But I think that goes to, and this is where I can relate to Rich. What you guys can't see off camera, he has this amazing collection, this cabinet of collectibles, right? And dude, maybe we'll send you a shot of it so that you can throw it up there. But I mean, it's a throwback to what he grew up with, and that's what I say. It's like, I mean, there's some stuff in there. It's so sick. And when people come in here, they check it out, they take pictures, and like, oh, I remember that. It's really cool. I mean, he even has. I'll have him send a picture. It's like a little bit of everything of pop culture and just the theme of this bar.
Yeah.
So it's hella cool.
Oh, I also saw that you have a freaking sick arcade stick collection, man. I'm trying to get on your level. This is mostly what I have.
That's the collector in me. I would say I've probably maybe used 3 of those sticks. Like the rest of them stays pretty and clean looking on the shelf. That's the Street Fighter in me. Like that's the FGC in me, where the passion for it is so strong that sometimes if I see something I like, I gotta have it. I also like to modify and customize sticks too. Like all my fight sticks are all modified. So I buy parts from Arcade Shop, Focus Attack, and just to modify it, just to be able to make it my own, and it's gotten to the point to where now I can't buy any more sticks because I'm out of room. So,
You might as well put them in here.
Yeah. No way, man. But so the last stick I bought was probably, which would probably be the Bitrix FS Pro FS. Like I don't think I have the most room.
That's a good stick to have.
It is. It's the last one I think in a long while until I sell something. But but my problem is I wouldn't want to sell any of them, So
yeah.
So right now my stick count is 12. And I think that's a good round number.
Wait, yeah. I gotta count and see if I'm close to you. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 12. Oh,
look at that, dude. Wow. I think we just became best friends, dude.
I got because I'm counting this one too. This is my this is a starter thumb pro. So they're making fight sticks with D-pad and the standard layout.
Crazy. So. That's crazy, dude. that's pretty nuts.
But that little D-pad on the side of it, it looks like the D-pad that came with the Ridge Racer Namco like controller that came out for the PS2. Is that what I'm thinking? Is that what it is? Yep. Ah, that's the gamer in me. I knew exactly what I was looking at. Yeah. So basically, Namco came out with this stick that you can rotate. On the right side, remember that. Yeah. You can shift gears with that. On the left side with the D-pad, the right side with the buttons, and you can shift gears out. There you go.
You can move it around.
Yeah, dude, there it is.
That's pretty sick.
Pretty nuts.
Have you seen that stick or that pad that Snake Eyes helped develop?
No, what?
Check it out on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, there's this new pad that Snake. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, I can't understand how to use it, but it looks pretty. I don't know. Very custom.
Is it like a geek friendly?
It has to be. It has to be geek friendly. There's no way. I mean.
Yeah. I watch Snake Eyes, use Zangief a lot. So Scoop City,
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, so when it comes to like with Street Fighter, who are your top 3 characters you play as typically?
Oh man,
per iteration.
Per iteration. I'm gonna take a break.
All right. I would say Street Fighter 2 with Guile.
Okay.
That was for sure. Street Fighter 3 with Ryu. Street Fighter 4 with Gen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Street Fighter 5 with Guile again. So it came full circle. But the only ones I was really good at Street Fighter wise was Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3. Street Fighter 4, I wasn't very good. One, I used Gen and he was terrible. But but there was something about him I couldn't stop using him, even though I was at a severe disadvantage. Against every Shoto player and every able. And in Street Fighter 5, I went back to Guile and I'm pretty bad with him, dude. I love using him, and it's partly because my favorite pro player is Daigo. And I watch him use him in ways that I didn't think was possible. It's footsie game and oh man, it's punished. When you see him land stuff like that, you're like, what the fuck? How did he even see that, dude?
It's true.
That's one reason why I keep using him. But I'm nowhere anywhere near near his level or anybody's level really. But I like to think or pretend that I am.
We know you're a pro level. You and Rob both, man. Rob's kicking my ass the other night we were playing.
Rob's probably the only guy I could beat, really. We played each other at SCR last year. Was the last year or this year?
We played each other last year at the Richard's booth, and whenever I see a Guile, when I go against a Guile, man, I just get. It's so hard, man. You can't get it. I can't get it.
It felt right because I haven't won in a while, and I won 3 sets on it, and so I felt pretty good.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I get free shots when I come. No, but I think that's what's cool, man. We sometimes when we come here when things are winding down, Rich could jump on the games and start playing again, and it's just a cool atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. And I wanted to get your opinion on when it comes to the influence of esports on the FGC, like, and how it's changing the scene of not only the FGC but gaming. Like, what do you think? You think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing?
Why do all interviewers ask us this question?
Because it's a fucking loaded question. It's a loaded question, and it's how you end up, being on the back end of the fucking barrel, dude.
I know, you could get addicted to this really easily.
All right.
We can skip it. We can skip the question.
I'm trying to build some time so you can think about it.
Okay. So the way I see it is this. Esports is like the necessary component of keeping gaming alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's popular, so it provides eyes on your sport or your hobby. Because without it, it would just be like, back then in the 90s, we were like, why are you wasting your life playing games?
Yeah.
You're ruining your eyes.
Yep.
Yeah. You're going nowhere, dude. Like, but now it's like, oh shit, you're making money on Twitter, not on Twitter, Twitch and YouTube. You're monetizing your stream because people want to watch you play. You're getting sponsorships now, and it's a notoriety, and it's one of the things where, like, I think it's a necessity to keep the hobby going. I may not agree with it, because it also kind of like it humanizes it, like it makes it to where now it's no longer about the having fun part. Now it's about how many viewers you can get, how many products you can move and sell, and I understand it's a necessity, like it's something that needs to exist in this world. But I would say, it's not a bad thing. It's needed, but also, like, I think it lends itself to also having bad things too, like like it could be toxic, like. Yeah, so like you play for the wrong reasons, or you lose your humbleness. You become this face. That you weren't, or you weren't when you first started. You're somebody different now. I see that. But then again, like like Sherry's doing that charity event. Was that charity event that she's doing?
Yeah, there's a charity event that Rich and I are going to be, right after we're done with this podcast, we're going to come up, and there's a charity event up there, and I think for like business owners like Rich, who follow this passion, and even myself, it's like, when it comes to the FGC and esports, Rich, I've seen Rich really just support it, right? By having a place. And, I guess just to make a point, it's like what we do as businesses, we try to support the people, right? Support the community, support the locals, because you look at Wednesday night fights, where it's a great place to hone in on your skills. But you look at a place like Rich, where it's a great place to hang out, and we're trying to create that environment that we didn't have back then, right? Like, if I was playing video games, my parents were kicking my butt because I'm not doing well in geometry or something. Right?
Yeah.
So today it's a little bit different, and quite frankly, to all the like aspiring gamers in esports, whatever game you're playing, whether it's Dota or CS or Street Fighter, you got to put in the work. It's a lot of work out that you have to put in to become that next level. Because I think some of the challenges these kids face is no different than what a young aspiring pro basketball high school player. There's a mental aspect of what they're doing. And the industry being, I think last time I saw like a $12 billion esports industry, there's pressure on a lot of folks. And, being good is one thing, but also to get there, it takes more than just being good at the game to get recognized. And I think that's what places like Rich and I, we're trying to create to help support that. Even Alex Valle, right? Yeah. I mean, he's reaching out to everybody saying, create content, promote yourself and do your thing, like what you're doing with this podcast, right? you're showing behind the scenes of what it takes. You know, we'll never be. I'm never be a pro.
No, I'm far from it.
But
Lies.
our contribution is back to the community, right?
Yeah. So that's how I think that's how esports helps everything. Like I said, like, you know, it's not a bad thing. Like, people can see it as a bad thing. People see it as toxic or you know, or whatever. But like it has its merits. You know, without it, we wouldn't have a WNF. My bar wouldn't exist. You know, like it helps create, you know, an environment for us to exist. You know,
Yeah.
And like, for instance, Commander Jesse, he got sponsored by Hori. You know, if it wasn't for esports, that never would have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You interview Commander Jesse.
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it, because I saw you posted that the other day. And Jesse's a cool dude. What's up, Jesse? Yeah, like, I talk to him at WNF all the time. Like, he's a cool dude, like, very humble, and like it's good to see people like that come up, you know.
Yeah.
So So esports is a good thing. Like, you know, it helps people gain a platform to where you can, you know, you can follow them and they can be heroes, or, you know. So it's a good thing. Yeah.
Definitely. All right. Well, I got one last question for you, if you're ready. Actually, I don't know. I'm a lie. I have two more questions for you. Two more, if you have time.
Sure. Got plenty of time, man.
Okay. So, when it comes to fighting games, I know you're like me. You're primarily a stick player, but what do you think is preferable, stick or pad, or for someone who's trying to get into fighting games?
I would say, well, because my thing was I grew up playing pad, like everybody my age. Like, you know, I'm 41, so, you know, my generation was all D-pad. You know, my first arcade stick was probably an MAS. You know, like for my Sega Saturn. And but like before that, it was in the arcade. But like at home, it was just D-pad. You know, like it comes down to muscle memory and what you're comfortable with. You know, like I can't use a D-pad now. Like I try and I can't do it. I can't do anything because I'm just so used to using a lever. You know.
Yeah.
So it's whatever you're comfortable with. So if you grew up playing D-pad and that's all you know, stick to it. Like, you know, I see plenty of players use D-pad at WNF or on tournaments. You know, like you know, if you can pull off your combos and your moves, and you know, and it doesn't hinder your performance, stick to D-pad. You know, but I see people who try to jump from D-pad to stick. They can't, because, you know, obviously your hand requires more range of motion as opposed to your finger. Like, you know. Yeah. So, but for me, I'm a stick player. I can't go back to D-pad. You know. I think Rob's a stick player too. You know.
Yeah, I converted a couple years ago, and I don't know, it's tough.
But, you know, like for instance, like you know, like say, for instance, Valle, he uses a D-pad on MK11, but he uses a stick on Street Fighter 5. Like, the game just lends itself better to the D-pad. Like, I think Mortal Kombat was one of those games that, you know, it grew from a D-pad. You know, so correction, it came from an arcade, but on home console it flourished the most, and that's when we learned how to play most of the MK games. So, like, you know, the back, forward, you know, down, forward, down. You know, like it's very mechanical. So the D-pad makes more sense as opposed to a stick. Whereas Street Fighter is all about link combos, so you're rolling a lot of DPs and a lot of you know tapsus. So you have a lot of rolling motion, so the stick makes more sense. So, you know, there's no right or wrong. Like, you know, so are you a stick player? You are.
Yeah, I converted to using stick about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm at this point now, like I'm like you, I really can't play fighting games with pad anymore, because I feel like just my brain is just wired differently at this point. Because I forgot where I went. I went over to a friend's a couple of weeks ago, and we were playing. He pulled up Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and we were playing that, and all he had was pad. And he let me keep this too, so I have it.
Oh shit, old school, man.
So we were playing it, and I'm over here like, what am I? I'm like, what am I doing? He's like, yeah, dude, I've seen you stream games. Like, why are you playing like trash right now? I'm like, I can't transition back over to D-pad. That's why. Oh, man. See, I'm getting attacked by the fan.
Such a content. But you know, like in the event, all I have is a D-pad. I still use it like a stick, where I hold like this and have a button, with my fingers. So it's kind of weird. Like your brain kind of like finds a way to make it usable. So yeah.
I know Rob and I, we were playing Mortal Kombat 11 the other day, and the one thing about that game that throws me off is having to press the block button. I swear.
We were playing. I've been playing Mortal Kombat since it came out, and then Mekel and I switched to Street Fighter.
Yeah,
that was comedy because I kept hitting the block button in Street Fighter.
Oh,
I stopped doing that, and maybe it's a sign of my old age or whatever. It's like I forgot how to play Street Fighter. I remember that it was like we were on stream, and I'm like, well, I'm hitting the block button, and So for all you guys out there who can switch between games, man, more power to you. It's hard. Like when you see Valle switch from D-pad to stick playing different games. I mean, I can't imagine that.
You know what I don't get though? For people using hitboxes, dude, that shit blows my mind.
Oh yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, I don't get that.
like you're basically playing with a keyboard. Yeah. WASD. I'm like, how the hell you doing shit? Like
no, it's.
But like I see Richard and Wynn using that shit. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, but he's so good at it. Like,
whatever works, right? I mean, I think that's what's interesting about esports is that whatever you have Snake Eyes with a custom whatever that thing is now.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously a D-pad, and then you have Zygo with a stick, and then you have like a knuckle dude who shaves off the start button because he uses pad and he has to shave it off because he keeps accidentally hitting them.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah, you see, I mean, then who's the one player who still uses the PS2?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy on tournament who still uses the PS2 controller, right?
Yeah.
So,
wow. I think people use PS2 controllers. Yeah. People use Xbox controller with a Brook adapter, like
whatever you win with, right? It doesn't really matter. Whatever you need to win.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm still not winning, but.
Well, it doesn't matter what we use.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The same.
Yeah.
Oh man. So my last question to you guys is what advice would you give to someone looking to get into creating their own business and or startup? And what should they know going into it?
Starting their own business?
I've answered this question before, so I'm going to let you
do it. You just said starting your own business, right?
Starting your own
business.
Okay. Well, I would say don't do it. Kidding aside, that's what my friend Leonard told me. Like when I first started this bar, I asked him like, "What advice do you have for me?" And this guy who owns like 8 restaurants in Orange County, he was like, "Don't do it." And I was like, "What? Why?" Like you're like you're like really good at it. Like why wouldn't you want your friend to do it? And he was like, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that it becomes your life. Like you have to be willing to put everything you have into it. It can't be a hobby. It can't be a side gig. It can't be something you're doing for fun. You really want to succeed. It has to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and like for me, and that was what I was faced with. It was like, do I want to put in everything I have, or do I just want to try it and see if it succeeds? And so when he told me that, I was like, all right, I don't have to fuck around anymore. It's like, people watch my language.
Go ahead.
So it was like, it was do or die for me. It was like, I'm 34. Do I want to, mess around and see how this does, or do I want to go all in? So I was like, I'm going to go all in. I did something, that most people shouldn't do. I cashed out my savings, my 401k, and my my fiance at the time, she gave me a small loan, and with the help of some of my friends, I was able to open this spot, But I basically put everything I had into it, so that way I didn't have the option of looking back or turning around or backing out. You go all in, know. Yeah, because human nature is you're like, I changed my mind. I'm gonna stop right here. But if you go all in, you can't go back anymore. You're like, I'm either gonna finish or I want to be broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fast forward, 2 years later, here I am. But it requires dedication. You just can't do it half-assed.
Yeah.
But the thing that helps it the most is if it's a passion of yours and it's something you love. You don't see it as work. You don't see it as a hustle. You see it as it's your love. You try to make it grow. You want to, you want it to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that's why we click. We're entrepreneurs. We're following what we love. So we love fighting games. We love Street Fighter. We love the grind. And so it makes it easier for us. We don't see it as being a burden. And I think that's why we elevate each other. In a way, I'm always trying to find ways for him to sell more shit. And he's always trying to find ways to get the word out for me.
Like putting you on this podcast.
Like putting me on this podcast. Never in my life would I thought I'd be on a podcast. Talking to public speaking terrifies me, dude. But
it's when you're starting a business, one of the one of the experiences I've had, I'll just share real quick, is that it's probably one of the loneliest things you'll ever do.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hear advice from people who have never done it before. You're going to hear, from friends who have done it before to warn you about it. But I think that warning is more of, it's a lonely road. It's a very tough road. It's what you don't see. I mean, you see the bar, you see the lights, you see the events, but what you don't see is what's happening behind the scenes and how we got here, right? Yeah. And there's a story behind all of us, whether it's Wednesday Night Fights and Alex and Chivy, right? Whether it's Conserva, whether it's Barcode. We're all going through things that no one else will probably ever see. But the journey is very lonely, and when you're around people that you could share this with, you start developing and supporting each other.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost like a support group. Because we get it, right? We understand what it's like not to sleep. We understand the stresses of deadlines and things like that. Because when you have to hunt in order to put food on the table, you're going to hunt, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to starve and die. So that's one of the when you have your friends around you that have never been through it, right? It's hard to relate to them, and then you start gravitating towards folks that like Rich, and when we walk in here, we talk about Oz and everything like that. Vitrix is a very fresh, very young company, making a real splash in the scene. But I've seen what that company's been going through recently, and they're doing amazing work, and it's a lot of work for them. They put in and they grind. And I'll repeat myself with Rich's point. It's like, find the people that you that get it. It may be a complete stranger. Like, I didn't know him, like a year and a half ago. I didn't know who he was. But now we can relate and talk and hang out, and he's pushing opportunities my way. I push opportunities his way, and the truth is the trough is big enough for all of us to feed.
Yeah.
Right. And when you deal with I've dealt with people in the industry who get jealous of our success or my success or whatever, and they start. In the industry, it's very cutthroat. But when you find that group of folks that are willing to help support you through it, then keep those people close to you, because it's really bad out there too. You think Twitter's bad? Just when you're a business owner, that could be just as bad too. It's a challenge.
Yeah. It makes me think back to discussion you and I were talking about before, where I'm considering just doing this full time, and podcasting, content creation, YouTube, journalism, and there's a point, I keep having this conversation with my wife, and I'm like, I want to do it. I'm tired of dipping my toe in the water, and she's fully there wanting to support me. She said, if you want to do it, then do it. I'm in for the ride, and it's just, not aside from you guys, like I don't really know any other entrepreneurs that have, at all, because I know people that are YouTubers, that are podcasters that aren't successful, and then they're telling me, like, I think Rob, I was talking to you about that yesterday, like, people telling me, oh, there's nothing special about what you're doing, but then I'm over here like, you're not doing shit yourself, so how are you giving me criticism? But
yeah, it's a journey, man. I've been told don't do it, and the only reason why people tell me not to do it is, are you really ready for it? And you got to be ready. Rich took a dive, and it's paying off because it's his passion.
Yeah.
When it's a passion, it makes it easier. Like you care about it, you do everything you can to keep it alive.
Yeah.
It's no longer work. Now it's who you are, it's your livelihood. You're trying to keep the dream alive. Yeah. Whereas if you're at work and you're doing your daily grind, you don't care. It's not your dream. You just support someone else's dream. You're making money for them. Whereas now if it's for you, your podcast, or it's me and my bar, it's about keeping the dream alive, keeping your bar alive. It's no longer about the money. Like for 2 years, I didn't pay myself because I was trying to keep the dream alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a lot of stress on the wife and the family. But she understood. That she knew it was like this was it for me. Like it's do or die.
Yeah.
And and that's the mindset you need. Like it's do or die. Everything you do should be do or die.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be half-assed. It shouldn't be, let's see how far this goes. If it fails, I'll try something else. Because if you did that, then
Yeah, if you try to play it safe,
then
you're never gonna you're never gonna really do it.
And like Rob was saying, it's a lonely road, dude. Like being an entrepreneur or being a trailblazer or a pioneer, like no one's gonna understand what you're going through. Your family may think you're rolling in cash, and your friends think you're living a good life, but they're only seeing what you let them see. They're not seeing the internal struggle, right?
Yeah.
So the only two people who understand that are your closer friends who see you go through the grind. Like that's why I think that's why we hit it off. Me and Bobby hit it off, and a lot of our other business friends hit it off because like we don't have to set false pretense. We can be who we are.
Yeah.
They already know what you're working a 12-hour day. They don't think you get down out of bed and roll into 8 o'clock to work. They already know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why if I'm on a show and I see him working a booth, like I see him hustling, I don't like talk to him. I think he's in this mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just hang out. I'm self-sufficient. I'll get some nachos, hang out, eat some food, and have a good time. I will never bother the guy. Because we know that we're in that mode.
Yeah.
And for you, like I would say, yeah, man, like don't stop. You keep doing it. Honestly, don't let Hawaii be your border, man. Like your boundary. Don't go beyond Hawaii, dude.
Yeah. I've definitely been thinking about that. Like,
I mean, like you got 10,000 subscribers now, dude, in Hawaii. I mean, like on YouTube. I mean, not Hawaii, but like that's a lot of people, dude.
Yeah.
10,000 people are following you religiously to watch and see what the show's about. Like that tells me that you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, I lied. I have one last question for you.
All right.
Did you have fun?
Fun on the podcast? Yeah, I had fun. Later, I'm having a good time. Like I completely forgot I was talking on the podcast. He was right. I was nervous as shit, dude. And Rob was like, after a while you forget Mike's here, you forget the screen's here, like you feel like I'm talking to you in person, So
yeah,
like for a first podcast, I had a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool, man. Thank you. And again, tell everyone where they can find you, not only on social media, but if because a lot of the audience here in Hawaii and around comes to LA a lot and goes to California a lot. But tell them where they can find you, man. Tell them everything. Plug it.
Okay. So like I said, our Instagram is BarcodeGG. Our website is www.barcodegg.com. Our Twitch is twitch.tv/barcode backslash. I can never tell the difference. Twitch.tv/BarcodeGG Twitch. And what else is there? Our Twitter is BarcodeGG.
Cool.
Yelp.
Yelp, yeah. What's Yelp?
Yelp is a barcode.
You look at Barcode in California, Garden Grove.
And what's your address?
Our address is 12926 Main Street, Garden Grove, California, 92840.
Cool. And I'll leave links and information all in the description of the podcast down below. So if you're watching it on YouTube, or if you're listening to it on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or on Twitch, because we're going to start putting the podcast on Twitch, all the information will be down in the description below. And Rich, it was an honor to have you on the podcast, man. Thank you so much. I can't wait to go and check out Barcode and get to hang out with you in person. Rob, it's always great to see you, man. Always great to talk to you. Thank you for being on the show as well. And plug yourself, man. Tell people where they can find you as well.
Yeah, sure. So we are on Instagram and Sergo. Twitter is in Sergo. Twitch is in Sergo. We've kept it pretty simple for us. It's a really obscure name, but yeah, you can find us all over. We will be, as far as events this year, we're planning on being at San Diego Comic-Con this year, dropping up some exclusive product, and over at New York Comic-Con, which is one of our favorite shows. We hope to sometime come out to Hawaii too. If there's any events out there, I'd love to go over there and check it out. So yeah, that's what we're about.
Awesome. And people, you'll be able to find this podcast on youtube.com/Mekel Kasanova. Also, it will be available on iTunes, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and coming soon to Podcast One, as well as Sirius FM Radio. So with that being said, thank you guys for coming through. Barcode, Insurgo, Rob, Rich, thank you so much. I'm so excited. This has been an amazing podcast. I've had so much fun. I actually don't even want to stop talking, but I want to respect your guys' time. And with that being said, thank you guys for coming through. We'll catch you on the next one. Did you enjoy this episode of the Kasanova Podcast? Well, I hope you did. And if you did, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let us know what we can improve upon, what you liked, what you didn't like, and all that good stuff. And just make sure you always have a good time. That being said, this is your boy Mekel Kasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber. I am signing out, and I'll catch you on the next episode.